Sup peeps, my name's Ian. I sell books on eBay, and today there are only 6 orders going out. I did have to pack a few through the day yesterday. I was changing my cut-off time and was a little bit late, and there was a wee flurry came in just before I did that, so I had to get a few packed up and out during the day, but still 5 to run through just now, so I'll show you what's going. A bit of bread and butter, kind of stuff you could expect to be selling. So we'll have a wee look and we'll get it all packed up. I've got them all in completely the wrong order sat here, but we finally get there, and we have got 5 John Grishams sitting on a wall, 4 paperbacks and a hardcover. So £12.99, sorry, £13.99, because there's a hardcover in there for the 5 of those. What are they going to cost me to post? That's a very good question, Ian. What are they going to cost you to post? They're going to cost me, yeah, under 2 kilos. Excellent, that's what we like to see. Next, a single book, a couple of single books, 3 single books going out today. We've got, not that, we've got this, yes, a George Martin. I don't sell many George R.R. Martin books at all, except when I've got a full stack of Song of Ice and Fire. But we've got Fire and Blood heading out on its own, £7.24 for that paperback. Which brings us on to, very similar to George R.R. Martin and the whole Westeros universe, we have Captain Underpants, 3 Captain Underpants by Dav Pilkey. I was talking about kids' books yesterday, and I can't remember if I mentioned him, but yeah, Captain Underpants sells pretty well. If you can find lots of them, stick them up, get them sold. £10.49 for the 3 of those. Very nice, I believe is the phrase. Which takes us to the second John Grisham bundle of the day. So I say Grisham does sell well, and he tends to go in flurries, much like many other authors. But we've got the 5 there. Again, it's 4 paperbacks and a hardcover, but the hardcover's a wee, let's just get to it, it's the wee BCA movie tie-in hardcover, which means that this lot did sell for £12.99. I get the prices right one of these days, don't I? 2 more, just 2 more to show you just now, and we've got Fellowship of the Rings. It's the nice kind of original replica, what's the word I'm looking for, facsimile of that one. So this was published in 1991, so it's still pretty damn vintage, but it's in that style, and that went for £6.99. And the last one came in just as I was getting set up, just to get started this morning. It's Battle of the Little Bighorn, Custer's Last Stand, and it's a wee ladybird vintagey book from 1976, I believe, so nearly 50 years old. Yeah, so I used to love these little books when I was a kid, but that is sold for £6.99. Nothing spectacular, but that's what it does. The likes of that and a few others that I have sold recently, there's a lot of people that have got them listed for £10, £11, £12, higher than what they actually sell for. So when you're looking these things up, you'll know this, but always check the solds. Don't just go on what the listings currently are, because it can be a wee bit deceptive, and you say, oh well, everybody's listing it for 50 quid, I'm going to list it for 50 quid. But when you look at the solds, none of those £50 ones ever sell. Somebody lists one for a tenner or 20 or 30, somewhere way below what that listed price is, and those are the ones that sell. So sell through rate is important, but looking at the sell through value is equally as important. And I paid literally pennies for that, so I could have listed it at 8-9 quid and tried to get that extra £2 out of it, but it cost me pennies. It took 3-4 days since I listed it for it to sell, and I've made a couple of quid on it. That's the ideal. That's really what you want to do. If you've got stuff and you can shift it, get it shifted. Don't sit on it for years and years and years. But let us just go and look at the other couple that did go out, and I shall try and remember to stick something up on the screen so you can see what they were as we go through it. Oh, going back through time, back before Grisham. There we go. We had Chuck Palahniuk, I can never say his name, Fight Club, but this is Pygmy. I don't have another copy of it, so otherwise it'll be standing right next to it. So Pygmy hardcover by Chuck Palahniuk, £6.99. We also had the Ultimate LNAT collection, 3 books in 1, 600 practice questions and answers. I don't really know what that is, but it was a big education-y looking book, so I thought, let's grab it. Sometimes those are worth a couple of quid. I'm paying pennies, pick it up. If it's no good, you know, no good for resale value, I'll just ship it around the corner and let somebody else have it. But it sold almost straight away for £13.99, so that was not bad at all. We also had a little bundle of comics, so it was you know, they put out collector's editions of comics, which actually end up being the ones that are worth the least, but there was a bundle of 8 of them, £19.99, so quite happy. If they've been sat for a wee while, but they have gone. And the last one that had to get shipped out yesterday was Heather Morris. You know, she did the Tattooist of Auschwitz. It's been in the telly box recently, and this is, I think, the 3rd book in that series, saga, 3 Sisters, so a hardcover of 3 Sisters, again £6.99. So a couple of nice wee sales in amongst that. Nothing crazy and spectacular. I haven't had many big value sales over the last couple of weeks. I think one book went for like 50 quid, and that's been kind of the top of it, but still not a bad few days worth of sales. Anyway, I need to get this lot packed up now, so let's get on with that. I'm just moving my microphone so it's not in everybody's ear, and I shall stick these to the side, give myself some room to work, because if you ain't got room, you ain't got room. And now this is where having poor eyesight is a disadvantage, because doing all of this stuff, everything's in my kind of intermediate vision, if that makes sense. So if I put my glasses on, I can't see what I'm doing here. If I take them off, I can't see what's going on over here. So I need to do a wee bit of back and forth to get to them, and I'll have to go downstairs and grab another roll of bubbles soon enough. But hopefully there's enough to get us through here at the moment. So first thing, zero the scales, and then go and see what the first thing is to pack, which is of course the last thing that I looked at, and it's Little Bighorn. So got a wee bit of card for this one, just because it's survived so many years. I don't want it to now die in an envelope heading to somewhere over the, you know what I mean. I don't want it going and getting knackered after going nearly 50 years. Nearly 50 years to then get squished. That would just be a shame. So just fold it up in a bit of card. I could do everything I can to try and keep this super skinny and get it out as a large letter, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to pack it as I would pack anything. If it happens to be large letter after I've done that, great. That'll save me 60-70p on postage, which isn't a lot of money, but it's significant if you consider the value of the sale. But I'm not going to skimp on anything just to get that. I don't see the point. So all that happens, it ends up damaged and it costs you money, because you've got to then give a refund. You've lost the item, you've already paid the postage. You know, there's not much point in doing that. So make sure the ends edges, and hopefully it'll go sideways in here, and it does. about it. Just getting all the extra air out of the bag is always the biggest challenge. Well, it is for me, you know. What's in there? It goes on there, and that is a large letter. So that's a large letter. It weighs 150 grams. Large letter, and it's going to. The postcode has vanished again. Ha! HA5, and into the pile it goes, which takes us on to Tolkien. Mr. George Tolkien, John Ronald Rowell. Is that right? I'm never sure if I'm getting that right, but his name's something like that. Pop a wee bookie in there. Fold. There's no great trick to doing this. It's just make sure that you're set up to go. Everything is so much easier. Processes and systems. So, a couple of questions off of yesterday's video and from videos on previous days. Somebody asking, is this my full-time job? Yes and no. No, as in, you've seen these videos, you know how long this takes me to do. I do not spend like a full-time working week doing this. I'm very against the idea of measuring income, success, whatever it is, on the amount of time spent on things. I hope that makes sense without sounding too conceited. But this does, W12, bring in most of the income I have. I used to have a very good office job. Nice senior position, making a reasonable living, and I hated it. So at the age of 48, I kind of retired from it, and I've just, you know, taken on side hustles. There's no other real way to describe them. A couple of wee side hustles, just enough to try and keep paying the bills as they come in, until I can actually cash in a bit of a pension or something. And this is one of those wee side hustles, and it is the one that's actually become the best single earner for me for what I do. I've got a local Morrison's, well, reasonably local Morrison's, that does Amazon deliveries through Amazon Flex. So if one of those pops up and it's the right timing for me or whatever, then I'll go and do a wee Amazon Flex shift, and it's an extra few quid every week. A couple of wee odd jobs and things that all go in. But yeah, this is, for want of a better way of describing it, you would say this is my full-time, most time job. But still, it's lucky if I spend a few hours a day doing this, and most of it is something that I just really enjoy doing. You know, from going out and finding loads of good books, you know, the hunt, thrill of the hunt, spot on. Keeping the organisation of it, the picking and the packing, even the wee run to the post office. I enjoy all of these things, so it never feels like work. And one day I could make 20 quid, the next day I could make 200. It's the same amount of effort, so it's always a part of the thrill of the hunt of that as well. It's just, how's it going to go today? Are you going to have a bad day? Are you going to have a good day? It's taken a bit of time to get the kind of average across a month to a point where it does actually pay the bills just. But it just, for not a lot more effort, there's a potential for a lot more reward, and it's just slowly building that up, you know, a little bit at a time. working out where my limits should be, where I want my limits to be, and deciding how far to take it. I consider now and again, right, let's go to the next level, get a unit, you know, then I can, you know, vastly increase the amount of stock that I carry. 2,000. Excuse me, a bit dusty there. Yeah, this is going to FY. Yeah, hugely increase how much stock I've got, therefore how much profit I can potentially make. But at the same time, that would mean I've got to then start taking on staff. I need to be at some point thinking about employing people, because it becomes a 365 effort at that point. Do I want to do that? Then do I end up not with the same office job I had before, certainly, but back in that situation where it's just admin? I become admin within that business whilst everyone else gets to do the fun stuff. Do I want to do that? Still not completely decided. At the moment, no. Daughter's off to uni. My son's got another year or two with school, depending on what he decides he wants to do. So I'm just going to tick over from home for that period at least. Then I'll decide what to do. It might be worth spending 2 or 3 years building it as for a proper business. Because at the moment, this isn't, it is a business, but it's not a business because it's just me doing this. If I ain't here, the business stops. To me, business is where no matter who's about, it will keep going. You know, you have employees, you have people that you can trust and rely on to keep that business moving at all times. And when you have that, then you have an asset rather than just something that takes you time to do. And if it becomes an asset, then it doesn't need me, which is why I'm saying I would end up doing all the admin side of it. If it doesn't need me, then somebody else can have the business, and that's, in a very, very basic way, an exit plan. So suddenly there is something there, something tangible that I could just sell on. You know, somebody else could take on the business, either put in somebody to run it and retain ownership, make some money off it, or just sell the whole thing and let it go to someone else. So there's options in there, but that's a very, very long way of saying, yes, it's my full-time job, but I only work it part-time because that's all I need to. Would I want to do this 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, or more? I don't think so. That would take the fun out of it. Just now, I can have a good day, I can have a bad day. I can have a day where I spend like 10 hours just doing stuff because I'm in the mood. I can have a day where I spend an hour doing stuff because that's all there is that needs done. And I quite like it that way at the moment. It's reasonably relaxing, does pay the bills, and means that I'm about when I need to be about. I can do what I need to do, and it's fine. But we'll see what the future brings. You never know what the future's going to bring. Anyway, we're on to the George Martin book now. I'm trying to remember what the other questions were. Oh, why? One of you asked about, do I not worry about sun damage to the books, just having them stored in a room with a window. No, I don't. I've got blinds on the window. The way the house faces, the way this window faces, it gets a little bit of direct sunlight first thing in the morning, and that's about it. It really doesn't get much bright sun at all. And I've left blinds up on the windows, taken down the curtains, they just get in the way and get dusty. But I have taken down the blinds. I've left up blinds so they get shut over for most of the day, to be honest, just to keep any penetrating light off of the books. Also, there's actually very, very few books which can get hit by the sun. The racking itself provides shade for the majority of items in here, so there's only a couple of wee areas that would get direct sunlight, so it's not really an issue from that point of view. So no, it's not a concern from the point of view they ain't going to get hit by much light. Second to that, if they're sitting there long enough to get sun damaged, they ain't worth having and selling. That's the bluntest answer, I suppose. If something is sitting long enough to get on this shelf to get sun damaged, I shouldn't have it in the first place. And if I notice that happening, then I know that it just needs to get chucked or redonated, because it should not be there. It's not worth having. So yeah, a couple of different ways to look at that. We sticker on the John Grisham book there, one across the top, hardcover on the top there, keeps it nice and together. So yeah, that's the sun damage bit. Let's get that flipped over. The weight of the book's up here. So yeah, this is on the first floor, which is the second floor, depending where you are in the world. But it ain't on the bottom floor, it's one up. And that means you do have to think about things about, weight. I did work out what's in here. It's the equivalent of about 20 people. So it's heavy, but it's not as ridiculously heavy as you would expect. It's not often you're going to have 20 people in a bedroom, but it's well within what the structure of the building can handle. There's no issues with that. The other thing is, it's all very static. So if you had 20 people in a room, they're constantly moving about. Everything flexes and gives and goes all the time, which again would not be a problem for the floor here. But everything here is static. It's very spread. Underneath everything there's like additional bits and pieces of stuff to spread that weight as evenly as possible across all the floors. And that wasn't actually for the sake of balancing out the weight or weight distribution. It was to stop there being, if there was one wee bit of flex on a floorboard or something somewhere that allowed one of the corners of the thing to slip slightly, then there's the danger that you end up the whole unit just buckles and goes over, and I really don't want to have to come in and tidy up that. So everything's got like extra sheets and boards underneath it, just to make sure that everything stays level and we don't end up with a buckling landslide, because that would be most unpleasant. Where's this last bundle of Grishams going? DG8, that's Dumfries and Galloway. DG8, where's DG8? I'm going to guess, total random guess, Newton Stewart. Where's it going? But it ends up being somewhere the completely opposite end of the region. Newton Stewart, hey! I got it right. DG8, Newton Stewart. That bundle of Grishams heading down there. Newton Stewart is right next to Wigton, which has got like, it's a village practically, very small little town, and it's got like 150 bookshops in it. We have a wee book festival down there. It's a lovely place to visit, but as it's become a tourist trap from that point of view. So the bookshops, it's all the stuff that I sell here, but I've got some curiosities too, but it's crazy prices. So yeah, not somewhere you would go to source, certainly, unless you're a collector and there's some very specific you can find. But yeah, lovely little place to visit. Wigton, Dumfries and Galloway, very near Newton Stewart. Right, if you from Fries through to Newton Stewart, turn left and you'll hit it. Right, that is everything I had to pack up there just now. I'll just hit my wee refresh button in case there's anything appeared since I started my blitherings. I very much doubt it though, because it's that time of day when not many people are buying books. No, that is us. Awaiting dispatch. Let's click on that. So I'm going to go and print the labels for this lot. Go and drop them off, as well as I was going to say as well as one from last night, but there wasn't one from last night. That was the day before. Yeah, I'm going to go and drop these few off at the Royal Mail office and continue with my day. Full-time job. In theory, I'll be finished by 9:20 this morning. That's the extent of this is a full-time job. I'm not going to. I've got maybe an hour's worth of listing to do, and depending where the day takes me, I might go and pick up a few more bits and pieces just to keep the whole thing rolling. Let's say the hunt, that's the best bit about all of this. Getting out there and finding something that makes you go ooh, ooh. And that happens often enough that it's worth popping in. So going into places where it's far too expensive to be picking up a big stack of books for reselling. You know, they're looking for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quid a book, but there might be something in amongst those which is worth 20, 30, 40, 50, 150 pounds. It has happened and it will happen again. So it's always worth having a wee browse around. So depending where I end up as the day goes on, I'll pop into different places and have a wee rummage around. Quite often when I do that, I come away with nothing. Sometimes I'll come away with something for myself, and very occasionally I'll find something that's actually worth reselling. And probably more often than that, I'll come away with something that I think might be worth reselling, but I couldn't get reception to check it, and it'll turn out that I'll make my money back on it and nothing more. So that's what that is. But got to love it anyway, haven't we? Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, do all of these things. You know, whatever makes you happy. That's what this world's here for. Whatever makes you happy and isn't hurting those round about you. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow.